Hello and welcome back to another series. Well, not series, it might be one episode or it might be two. It seems a bit long. I will let you know in the title though if it is one or two episodes. In this one, we're going to do something very simple. We're going to make some doors. Yeah, I know, really simple, right? And honestly, it is. We are going to make some modifications though. It's not just going to be doors. It's going to be, well, it's going to have keys. So I can go and pick up the keys here. So you can see that we have 3 keys. This is a inventory system that I'm not going to make in this tutorial. If you want a inventory system that is complete and drag and drop and everything like that, you can find another series on my channel. I'm not going to be spending time and effort doing it here. So this inventory system doesn't actually work or anything. It's just for visuals. So now I have 3 different keys and I can go and unlock these doors. They all require a specific key. Now if I restart and I don't get the keys, it's going to tell me that I'm missing the key required for the door. And if you see over here, this is not a key. This is well, it's this key. It's a world key, so it's not an item. It is a separate key, so I can go and pick it up, and that is linked to a specific door. A door has unlocked somewhere. I think it's this one. Yeah, so we can open that door, and that's basically a world key. So it's not inventory based at all. It is basically just a collision box with that that unlocks the door. Whereas these are items, so it's the pickup actors that add the item to the inventory and stuff like that. Now the eagle-eyed viewers of you might have seen that these doors do not have a keyhole. However, this one does. If you go into and press the keyhole, it's going to fade into the keyhole and you can press it back and forward. And of course, if the door is opened, you cannot view through the keyhole. So let's unlock the door, and now the keyhole is no longer there, like so. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to make today. It's just a simple door system, so let us just get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to head into our content drawer, and in here we're going to set up a new folder. I'm going to call this one my door system, and that is going to be your projects folder basically. I'm going to give it a color so I know where it is, and inside of here, this is where everything inside your game would be. So I'm going to set up a let's set up a interface folder and a systems folder. Now inside of systems, you probably already have the inventory system or anything else really that you probably have. I'm going to go into my interface though, and I'm going to make a new user interface, widget blueprint, user widget. It's going to be my WBP HUD. You can open that up right away. Now our HUD will consist of a canvas panel, and inside of the canvas panel we will add our widgets. The very first thing that we're going to do inside of our HUD is go into our graph. I'm going to delete the pre-construct and a tick, and I'm going to right click on the empty space and search for a custom event. I'm going to call this one my setup casts. Now out from my construct, I want to call my setup casts. The first cast I want to have and to get a reference of is the first person or third person character in our case. So cast to your player character. Object is your get player character, and then you can right click and promote that to a variable. I'm going to call it my player ref. After this, I want to right click an empty space again and search for a custom event. I'm going to call this one my setup refs. And when we set up refs, that's going to be where we set our HUD refs to the widgets and stuff like that. Let's go into our content drawer and search for our third person character, or your player character in your case. And inside of my third person character or your player character, I want to create widget. The widget I want to create is our HUD, and I want to add that to the viewport. I also want to make a new variable, so hit the plus button. I'm going to call this one my HUD ref. I want my player to be having access to the HUD as well. That's going to be of type WBP HUD, and that's going to be an object reference. Back on our WBP HUD now, on our setup refs, we can grab our player ref. I'm holding control so that I don't have to select this. If I hold alt, that's going to make me automatically set, and if I hold control, it's going to be automatically get. And then I want to type in set HUD ref, and I want to set the HUD ref to ourselves. And that is basically it for our construct, our event graph so far. Now let's head into our systems folder. Inside of systems, I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it my door system. Now my door system will consist of another folder called interface. And inside of the door system folder, we're going to make a new blueprint class. It's going to be an actor. It's going to be my BP door. This could be door, maybe this could be master door if you want, so you could have children out of it. Open up your master door, and in here we are going to make some changes, of course. So we are going to make some, let's go to the viewport first of all, and let us add a new component. I'm going to add a sm_door, so I can go into my content drawer here, to search for sm_door, which is a part of the starter pack, and I can add that just like so. You can see that it's a bit wonky. We do want the anchor, the root, to be here on the door. We do also want to move this. This is not going to line up properly, so we need to change the grid size to 5, and that is going to allow it to snap perfectly. So we want the scene root here because we are going to rotate it on the scene root, so we do not want to mess around with the location of the door itself. We're also going to add a camera to our door, and I'm going to call it my keyhole camera. Now, a keyhole camera, it should be on the right side. However, we are going to double check it by placing the door inside of our world. So I'm going to grab my master door, and it is in the correct spot as far as I want. So you can see you have the red arrow dictating the x-axis, and that is fine. You can also see that we are having some clip issues with the camera, so let us go to the camera, let us change the clip size down even more, and let us move it up 5. So I actually didn't need to change the clip size on that, but that did solve our problem. This is going to be the way it looks. Change the clip size back to 5, or the grid size rather, and that is it for that. Let us go into the event graph, and in here we're going to make a new custom event. I'm going to call it my open close door. I'm going to add a flip-flop to this. So it's going to go first through A, and then through B, and then through A, and so on. I'm going to make a new boolean. I'm going to call it locked. Actually, I'm going to do locked with a question mark. And then I'm going to add a open question mark. And out of A, we want to set locked to be false. We want to set open to be true. And now we want to have a timeline. First of all, though, we are going to get our sm_door, and we're going to set collision to be no collision, so that we can just run through. We don't have to worry about the collision itself. We might actually have an issue with it even way, because we might want to make it bigger. Now let's add a timeline to this. I'm going to call it my open close door timeline, and I'm going to plug in this one on play, the top one on the flip-flop, and the B, I'm going to get my open variable, going to plug it in, going to make it negative, so unticked, and that is going to go into reverse. Now I'm going to open up my timeline. I'm going to change the length to 1. I'm going to add a float track, and I'm going to call it my open close door timeline float track. That's a bit of a hard thing to type. Add 2 keys by right clicking anywhere. Select the first key, set it to 0, 0. Select the second key, set it to 1, 1, and compile, and we can go out of that timeline. Out of finished, we want to copy our collision enabled, and we want to set it to be collision enabled. There we go, query and physics. And on update, we want to get our door. We want to set world rotation on our update, like so. We want to right click and split the structure pin. The roll and the pitch can stay to 0, 0, but the yaw is what we want to change. So we want to get a lerp float. The A is going to be 0, the B is going to be 90. So we want to flip it 90 degrees. We want to plug in our float track to the alpha, so it dictates the value. The return node goes into the yaw as stated previously. And that is it for our open close timeline. Now I do want to go up to my begin play, and I want to get my open close door timeline, and I want to set the play rate. Now, what do we want to set the play rate to? Well, we want to be able to change the speed at which it opens, right? So I'm going to add a new variable. I'm going to call it my time to open close float. I don't need a float. You can see that it's a float. Change it to a float variable, compile it. I'm going to set the default value to 2, so it's going to take 2 seconds to open and close fully. Get that and do a division like so. Plug in the value that we just made into the bottom one, and we want to divide the length, the float tracks value, so 1. So we want to divide 1 by the time to open close. Now I want to go into my door into my content drawer, into door system, and I'm going to make a new. Actually, yes, I'm going to go into my systems, and I'm going to right click, create a new folder. I'm going to call it a interfaces, BPIs. There we go. And I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to blueprint, and I'm going to select blueprint interface. I'm going to call it BPI_interact. Open that up, and the function in the top right here, as you can see, we're going to call it interact. The input is going to be our player character, so that's going to be third person character for me. I'm going to call it my player ref, and we can compile and save and close that. Now back in your door, you want to go into your class settings, and you want to go to implemented interfaces, and you want to add your BPI interact. Now you can see that we got it on our left side here. Now you can double click that, and that's going to implement it. I'm going to right click on player ref and promote that to a variable. And then we need a widget to actually handle things as well. So let's go into our systems, into your door system, and into interface. Inside here, I need to stop holding down that button. Right click, widget blueprint, user interface, user widget, sorry, WBP_door widget, and you can open that up. Set it to the side on screen. And the first thing that we're going to add is a border. And we're going to copy that, and now change the padding to 2 in all on both of these. You can go to the first one, change the brush color to maybe a grayish. Go to the second one, change the brush color to, I'm going to do like pink, why not? And then we can add a widget switcher. I'm going to call it my door widget switcher. I then want to add a vertical box inside of my switcher, and inside of this vertical box I'm going to add a button, and inside of this button I'm going to add a text. The first button is going to be my unlock open button. It's going to have a text that is going to be my unlock open button text, and the text of this button is going to be, you guessed it, unlock/open. I'm going to go to font. I'm going to change it down to, I'm going to leave it at 24. I'm going to change regular though. And I'm going to outline it because why not? So that's going to change depending on what the state of the door is in. I'm going to duplicate this button. I'm going to change the padding on the top to be 10 down maybe. And I'm going to call this one my keyhole button. And that means that this is going to be my keyhole button text, and I'm just going to call it keyhole. You might want to call it something else. I don't know. I'm going to call it keyhole though. And then finally I'm going to add another button, and I'm going to call this one my exit button, which means that this is my exit button text, and the text is going to be exit. I'm going to duplicate this vertical box, and I'm going to delete everything except for one button. This exit button is now going to have a 0 padding, and it's going to be my back button, which means that this is my back button text, and it's going to say back. Right, it's now got our widget switcher. Actually, let us add another one. So under keyhole button, you can duplicate that, and this one is going to be our knock button. Knock button text, which is going to say knock. And maybe we want to add a kick down or something. I don't know. We can probably do that though. So let's add a, under our knock, let's add a kick down button. And this is going to be my kick down button text. It's going to say kick down. Inside your graph, we are going to add a custom event. So let's delete these, add a right click custom event. I'm going to call it initiate. Initiate will have a input of type BP door, so BP master door, and that is going to be a object object reference. Yeah, it's going to be an object reference. I call it my door ref. I'm going to promote that to door ref, and I'm going to make a new function. This one is going to be my toggle visibility. Inside of toggle visibility, I'm going to get a reference of myself. I'm going to get visibility, and I'm going to switch on eSlate visibility. On visible, we want to get our player controller. We want to set show mouse cursor to be false, because now we are visible. We don't want it to be shown anymore. We want to set input mode game only, and now we want to get a HUD ref. So let's get that HUD ref. WBP HUD, and I like to get these things set up while I do it, so I'm going to go back to my HUD now, and now we have our setup refs on our designer. First of all, we need to add our WBP door widget to our canvas. I'm going to hold down Control Shift and click on the right side here. That's where the menu is going to come up. I'm going to go back to the graph, and now I can grab my door widget and I can set the HUD ref in the chain that we have going here. Now I can go back to my door widget, and now we want to get our HUD ref, and our HUD has a reference to our player, which is good because now we want to set movement mode on our character movement here. We want to set it back to be walking, and then we want to get ourselves set visibility, and we want to set ourselves to be hidden. That also, and then we want to return. That also reminds me that we did not hide this in the HUD. So let's go to the designer of our HUD and hide it. Back to our door widget, and we are done with our visible branch or our visible line here. Under this though, we want to copy our player controller onto hidden, and now we want to show our mouse cursor. We want to set input mode game and UI. We want to set it to be game and UI. We want to set the widget to be in focus. We want to set it to be ourself. I'm not going to hide cursor during capture. I want to copy down my character movement. I'm going to set the movement mode to be none. And then I'm going to copy down my visibility and set it to be visible. Now we can go back to our event graph and we can toggle visibility. Out of toggle visibility, I'm going to add a sequence just so the line doesn't get too long. And on the sequence then 0, we are going to get our door ref. We're going to get open, see if it's open or not. If it is into a branch, sorry. If it is open, we want to get our unlock open button. And we're going to set the text. That is not the text. Unlock open button text. There we go. Change these text to be variable, all of them. Well, we don't need the back button or the exit button. We are doing it anyway though. So let's see here. So we want to get the unlock open button text. We want to set that text. And I'm going to set this text to be closed door. So now it's open, we want to close it. Out of false, we want to check if it's locked. So get your door ref, get if it's locked, and that goes into a branch. Okay, so the door is not open, so it's closed. Okay, well, is it locked? If it is locked, then we want to get our unlock open button text. We want to set text. You can just copy down the one up top there. But out of true, we want to set the text to be unlock door. And out of false, I'm going to copy it down again. And we want to set it to be open door. Out of then 1, we are going to get our door ref. And let us go into our door for a second. And let us add a new variable. I'm going to call this one my keyhole, question mark. It's going to be a boolean. I'm also going to expose an editable keyhole. I'm going to do the same with locked. And compile, go back to the widget. Get keyhole. So does the door have a keyhole, basically? That is something you will change later if you want to have it or not. So if we do have a keyhole, okay, well, we want to check if it's is the door open, right? Is the door open, but do we have a keyhole? Yes. Okay, then we want the keyhole button and set visibility to be collapsed, because if the door is opened, if the door is open but we have a keyhole, we don't want to be able to look through the keyhole. We want to be just collapsed. We don't want to give the player the option. However, if it's not open, well, then we're going to set it to be visible. And if we do not have a keyhole, well, we're just going to collapse it. Let us go to our third person character for a second and set up the interact. Inside of my third person character, I'm going to add a new function. I'm going to call it interact. Now, interact is just, if you have followed any of my other tutorials, it's just going to be a line trace. So I'm going to get my actor location, right click, line trace by channel. The start is the location of the actor. The end, however, is going to be in front of us on the camera. So I'm going to get my actor rotation. I'm going to get my forward vector. Actually, should I? Yeah, let's go to the viewport first of all. If you're having the third person character, that is, if you have a first person character, you don't have to do this, but I have a third one. So I'm going to remove my camera boom. I'm going to dock my follow camera to my mesh. I'm going to change it to my FPP cam. I'm going to parent sock that to the head. I'm going to rotate it 90. Try to align it as much as I can. Move it a bit forward. I'm going to move it a bit down, like so. I'm going to remove the, where is it? Point control rotation. I'm going to have that to be true, and then I'm going to set yaw to be true. So let's just do a test on that, see if that works, and that works as it should. Now I can go back into my, so I just changed the control yaw to be true, and also the use point controller rotation to be true. Now go back to your interact. I'm going to get my rotation and get the forward vector as I said. I'm going to multiply that by a distance, which is going to be a float. I'm going to have a float value of 300 units. And I'm going to add these two together. And that is my end location. I'm going to debug this persistently so we can see it in action. On the out hit, I'm going to break that hit result. I'm going to get my hit actor. I'm going to see if it has my interface, my interact interface. That goes into branch. If we do not have it, we don't want to do anything. If we do however have it, we're going to get our hit actor. I'm going to call our interact. That reminds me I have to change the collision as well on the meshes. The player ref is myself. And now let's go into the event graph. I'm going to right click anywhere. I'm going to keyboard E. I'm not going to use the new input mapping system because this is just faster for me right now. And I'm going to call my interact. If I play now, you can see the interact line. As I said, I do need to change the collision, as you can see here. So let's go into our master door and select the SM door open that up like so. I'm going to set collision to be use complex as simple. This might be all that's needed, but we might have to actually add it. Yeah, okay, so that is working just fine. Now, if I now go to my master door and I do a print string on the interact, we could possibly see that it's already working, and it is. Okay, so now let us head into our door here. We want to get our player ref, we want to get our HUD ref, and we want to get our door widget. Out from the door widget, we want to call our initiate function, or maybe it's a event. The door ref is going to be ourself, and that is it for our initiate. The HUD ref is invalid over on initiate. In our HUD, have we set up refs? No, we have not. So inside your HUD, remember, after we have cast to our player character, we also want to set up our refs, and that should be it for our initiate. Now we have our buttons over here. So let us add some functionality to those buttons. The first button that we are gonna, well, we're just gonna add the exit button first of all. So the exit button, you can click it and add a unclicked event. Now our exit button is very simple. We're just gonna toggle visibility. That's gonna handle exiting that menu. Let us work with our unlock open button. So add a unclicked event on that. Now, when we click our unlock open, let's actually move this down because it's going to be in the wrong order. When we click it, we want to get our door ref. We want to get if it's locked or not. Is the door locked? If it is not, then we want to open close the door. So let's get our door ref. Call our open close door and plug that into the false and toggle the visibility. Right? So if I now go into my third person map, you can see that it's not locked. Okay, well, let's hit play then and hit the open door, and this, you can see that it said open door, and if I now press to be locked, it is now locked. Okay, let's go into the door widget once more. If it is locked, however, we want to check if we have the key. So the key is a variable that we basically, this is going to be based off the inventory. So if you have an inventory and you want the key to be able to be an item inside of the inventory. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make an inventory on this one. We have too many inventory systems on this channel already. So I'm going to set up a very basic one, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and we have created a very basic inventory system. It doesn't have any drag and drop features. It can't even fucking toggle the window, but it does work for our case. So you can see that I have the inventory down here, and this is just pickups where I can pick up 3 different types of keys. Now, what I did with the keys, and you already know this probably, is I basically just have my master item, right? And I right click that, create a child blueprint out of that, and then I created a master key, which I in turn turned into these children. Now, if I open up this key, you can see that I haven't done anything with the item or anything except for the icon itself. Haven't even changed the stack size, haven't changed the name. Nothing actually works with this inventory system. What we do need it in order to test one feature of the door. And what we want to do now is we want to basically open up our master door. When we interact with it, we initiate the widget, and on the unlock open button here, so if it's locked, okay, well, we want to see if the player has the key, right? So let us just make a new function for that. Find key. So when we find the key is also, have we set up the key here yet? No, we haven't. So inside of my master door, I'm going to set up a new variable. I'm going to call it my key. That is what I'm going to call it. Now my key, I'm going to make it a master key variable, class reference. I'm going to set it to be instance editable and exposed on spawn. So now that we have a key reference, I want to go back to my door widget, and on find key, I'm going to get my HUD ref, I'm going to get my player ref, I'm going to get my AC inventory component, so that's going to be this one. And now I want to find the item. So in order to do that, we're going to do a get the contents of the inventory. Now, if you have followed my other tutorials on inventory systems, I would recommend version 2. It's a lot better than version 1, like by a fuck ton. Then you would have the exact same process as I'm doing right now. You would just use that on your system. It would be the exact same process. So I'm going to get my content. I'm going to do a for each loop with break. And I'm going to search, break this by the way, and I'm going to search to see if the item in the inventory slot that we are looking at is the same as the key that the door wants. I'm going to get the variable we made and plug it in like so. If this is true, well, we're going to break out of our loop into another branch and uncomplete it like so. So if this is false, well, then we're gonna do some debugging after. Well, not debugging, we're gonna set up some notifications after. If this is true, however, we want to remove the key from the player's inventory. So I'm gonna get my, let us see here. Actually, I'm gonna make a new function. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I just had to make a new function on our inventory component. Again, if you have followed my inventory system tutorial, you have already got this function that I made, so I'm not going to go through it here. I'm going to get my AC inventory component and I want to remove the item. So we found the key. I want to set item info at index. The index is the index we found it at. And I want to set it to be blank because now we used up the key. The size set to fit, no, nothing to do here. And I want to get my door ref. So we have unlocked the door. I want to now close the door. And finally, I want to toggle the visibility. So when I go into my event graph, well, actually out of all of this completed, I now want to return and let us set up the false line real fast. Inside of my door system, inside of my interface, I'm going to make a new widget. Actually, not inside of my door system. I'm going to do it inside of my interface folder. It's going to be a new widget blueprint. I'm going to call it my WBP alert widget. Now, alert widget is going to be very simple. It is just going to consist of 2 borders and a text. So let's get the borders in, decide on screen, copy that border down, set it to 2 and all. Change the first border's brush color to a grayish. I'm just going to leave it like that. And add a text. This has to be variable. And I'm going to call it my alert widget text. It's going to have regular, like so. I'm going to do a, fuck it, I'm going to do green with a outline of 1. And that's going to be my alert widget. I'm going to click my widget over here and I'm going to search for render opacity. I'm going to set that to be 0. Now I'm going to go into my animations folder here. I'm going to select new animation. I'm going to call it fade in out. Select that, add a track, add this entire widget to the tracks over here. And on, I'm going to do 1 second. So on 1 second, well, actually I need to go to 0 again, and I need to track the render opacity. Now I'm going to go to 1 and I'm going to change the render opacity to be 1. It's going to fade in and out like so. I'm going to go into my graph and in here I want to add a HUD ref. It's going to be of type WBP HUD. Do not need that to be exposed or anything. I'm going to make a function though. I'm going to call it initiate, and in initiate I'm going to have a input of a text, which is going to be the alert text. I can get my alert widget text and I can set that text to be that of the incoming one. Get my visibility of ourselves and set that visibility to be not hit testable, self only. I want to get my fade in out animation. I want to play animation forward. And then I'm going to go to my event graph and create a new custom event. I'm going to call it my fade away event. And I could go back to my initiate and add that fade away, like so, and back to the event graph. I'm going to add a delay of 2 seconds. You might want to change this however you want. This is going to be how long it's going to be on the screen. I'm going to add my fade in now, and this time I'm going to play animation reverse. I'm also going to get end time, add a delay by holding D and clicking it. And once the delay is done, then I want to set set visibility to be hidden. That is our alert widget. Now I can go into my HUD and I want to add my alert widget. Size of the content, I'm going to put that in the middle by holding Shift and Control. Head into the graph. On our setup refs, before I generate my inventory, remember you don't have to do this, you already have an inventory. I'm going to get my alert widget. I'm going to set HUD ref. And now we can go into our door widget again. So on our false here, we now want to get our HUD ref. We want to get alert widget. And we want to call initiate. I'm just going to make a dummy text. You can change this however you want. I'm going to do format text. And I'm going to say, you are missing the curly bracket item needed to unlock this door. Now what item is it? Well, that comes from our door ref. And we can get the item variable. And then we can get the display name maybe. And that should be it. And then we can toggle the visibility. So this is on our false branch when we are looking for a key. So we do not have the key basically. So we click it and then we go into our find key. Let's go into and remove our master door. I'm going to go into systems, door system, and now I have our master door. I'm going to right click in the folder, call it doors, right click master door. This could be my BP iron door, maybe. Move it in there. And now I can move my iron door out. I can set it to be locked, and I can say that it requires the iron key. Now the iron key is from this left one here. So if I now go and click play, and oh my god, it lags. So if I now click unlock, it's telling me that I'm missing the key required. I do not understand why it is so laggy though. There we go. So if I now click unlock, that is going to tell me I need the key. Okay, let's go and pick up this key. This is the golden key. I can now click unlock. Ah, shit, I need the iron key. Okay, this is the iron key. I click unlock. That's going to take away the key. It's going to unlock the door. It is now going to be unlocked basically forever. Likewise, if I now hold down Shift and Alt and then say that this one is the golden key and then this one is the copper key, they're all going to require a different key. So this is that one, right? So I can now try to open this one. Doesn't work. I need the golden key. This one needs the copper key, or this one works with that. I can go pick both of these and like so. So that is the key basically handled, the locking and the unlocking. Now if we head into the designer and let's see what next. So the next one is the keyhole. And actually I don't know if we're going to do the kick down, but the keyhole, let's click the unclicked event on that. Now when we click the keyhole button, first of all, did we see that it actually worked? So this one does not have a keyhole, it says. But it does not still show it up either, so that's good. Let's head into our door widget, as I said, and the keyhole button. We're going to get the player controller, and I'm going to set view target with blend. I'm going to blend it over, I'm going to do 0.5 seconds. You can mess around with these settings however you want. What are we going to change it to? Well, we're going to change it to the door. And then we want to change the door widget switchers active widget index to be 1. And then when we go to our back button, add a on click there. Now we can set view target with blend. However, this time we're not going to blend to the door, we're going to blend to the player. So let's get our HUD ref, get our player ref, and blend that back. Change the widget index to be 0. And that is it. Now I can move our toggle visibility down. This looks like shit, but it doesn't matter to me. Right, so now we don't have any keyholes there. Let's go into the third person. Add a keyhole to the first one. Now we have a keyhole. We can change in between those. This one still don't have a keyhole, so it doesn't really do anything. And finally, let us add a... Also, I will remove the knock and kick down because we're not going to make that anyway. So let us just make this final thing. The very final thing I want to do is I want to make it so that you can have a world key as well. You don't have to have an inventory key. And I'm going to do that by going to the master door, and I'm going to set a new variable. I'm going to call it world key. And I'm going to make a new actor for this. So it's going to be a BP world key. I'm going to set this to be a cube because I don't have anything else, and a collision box on it as well. This collision box needs to be bigger, and I'm not going to hide it in the game. The box is going to have an overlap event, and we're going to cast it to our third person character or your player character. As always, promote that to player ref. And we are going to basically have a door ref as well. So add a door ref variable. I'm going to call it BP door, BP master door, like so. It's going to be editable and exposed on spawn. And we're going to get our door ref. We're going to set locked to be equal to be false. We're going to get our, let's get our player ref. Get a HUD ref out of that. Get the alert widget. I don't know if we test, yeah, we did test that. And then initiate that alert widget. I want to just type in a very simple text. A door has opened somewhere. And then I want to destroy this actor. The door has, should I just have it unlocked maybe instead? If you want it to be open, then you will get your door ref here and close that door instead of, well, in addition to this if you want. So now if I go into the third person map, I can now get my world key out. I can basically in the details panel here, I can see that you can see that you have door ref, and you can just select the eyedropper here and select a door that you want. So I'm going to put the first door over there. Let's go and get the key. So let's go to the door first so you can see that we need the key, or we can go to here and basically unlock it. So it did unlock, but we did not get the alert widget showing up. And that is probably because it did show up, it just did not. Because this one does show it up, make it show up. Does it show up if I don't? Yeah, there we go. That was just a little bug. Maybe because if one is already shown, then the other one does not want to be shown. So now if I wait long enough, there we go. So that's a delay issue. But that is how you would do a world key. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please let me know. I know it's a quite simple tutorial, but it was aimed more for beginners. And if you learned something, I am happy that I could help. If you have any issues or questions, please let me know in the comments below. I will be happy to help as much as I can. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed already, do so, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.